what is your exam attempting strategy? Because that is a very crucial part of any exam. You have studied something, you have learned something, but how are you going to pick up the questions? How are you going to attempt that exam? That 2 hour period, it becomes very, very important. So, what was your exam attempting strategy?
So my exam attending strategy was made by my previous judgments, which I did on my own.
Hmm.
What I would do is during mock test, I would make an Excel sheet,
Hmm.
and in that Excel sheet, I would divide in four parts.
So, hello everyone. He is Mr. Vaibhav Snehi and he has secured All India rank 99 in recently announced results of UPSC AO exam.
Thank you so much.
He was associated with EduTap through interview guidance program. So, many congratulations, Vaibhav.
Thank you so much.
एंड अगर मैं वैभव की जर्नी के बारे में बात करूँ तो ये एक ऐसे स्टूडेंट रहे हैं जिनकी हमेशा से ही परफॉर्मेंस बहुत अच्छी रही है. 10th में भी 10 CGPA, 12th में भी टॉप स्कोरर, गुड कॉलेज, अगेन वेरी गुड मार्क्स. फिर इन्होंने सिविल सर्विसेज के लिए प्रिपेयर किया. देयर आल्सो ही रीच्ड इंटरव्यू स्टेज एंड नाउ ही हैज अचीव्ड दिस. सो वैभव, कैसा लग रहा है आपको फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल?
बहुत अच्छा लग रहा है. डेफिनेटली एक गुड जॉब सेटिस्फेक्शन तो होता है, वो काफ़ी इंपॉर्टेंट है. उसके अलावा आई थिंक एक इतनी लॉन्ग जर्नी का एक फाइनल कंक्लूजन टू सम एक्सटेंट एक क्लोजर भी मिलता है, तो वो काफ़ी इंपॉर्टेंट है आई थिंक. एंड अल्टीमेटली ये एक EPFO कैसे ही जॉब है जो प्योरली सिविल सर्विसेज एंड सर्विंग द वल्नरेबल से रिलेटेड है, तो डेफिनेटली वो भी काफ़ी एक एक्साइटमेंट या फैक्टर.
Okay, so this is our entire content team and the support team here. So as a token of appreciation, I would like to give you something. This is a gift for you.
Thank you
Small
so
gift
much.
for you.
Thank you so
And
much.
this is a top achievers badge.
Oh.
Give to all of our selected students.
Thank you so much.
You can have it on your.
Put it.
Yeah, sure. So anything else you would like to say here?
Yeah, thank you so much for your content, I guess. I mean, and different examination as well. I have used EduTap
Okay.
informally, not through the courses, but I watch your videos, read your PDF files, and that was really good and helpful.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So anybody else, if you want to ask sir any questions, so please.
So when you were in touch with EduTap for the interview guidance program,
Yes.
were you in touch with anybody else also?
No, purely EduTap.
Only
At the time for interview, I was in that. And also my mother helped me with the interview.
And what was your experience? With whatever touch points you had, what kind of feeling you were generating inside you at those touch points? Was it kind of frustration anywhere, or was it going smooth?
In mock interview,
Yes, the entire process.
I would say the entire process was a little bit hectic. Yes, the mock interview per se was really good. I got a good feedback where I was told that I need to look more happier and need to be more energetic, but in a mild control format, and that really helped me. So I would say that was, apart from the basic things, they asked me to focus more on minute details because UPSC panel can go in extended details. So that was
Right. Oh, how are you looking forward to your journey now? Like, are you planning to give any more exams in your
at this moment I'm going to take a little bit of break, like a year and a half, and then potentially maybe next year I might look into other examinations. But yeah, at the moment I will join
You're
you.
not planning to give a PFC exam, which is going to
Hopefully, if it does, then I would. But let's see when the notification arrives.
wish you best.
वही एक बहुत लंबा चला, मतलब जो डेट्स थी वो लगभग 1.5 साल बाद इंटरव्यू अनाउंस होती है.
Yeah.
तो ऐसे में बीच में रूमर आती है इंटरव्यू होने वाला है, फिर वो रिव्यू डाउन हो गया, फिर आता है. तो ये जो इंटरव्यू की प्रिपरेशन को कंसिस्टेंट मैनर में आपने कैसे किया कि मुझे हमेशा रेडी रहना जब भी इंटरव्यू हो रहा है?
एक्चुअली जब से मैंने सिविल सर्विसेज की प्रिपरेशन स्टार्ट करी, स्टार्टिंग में फॉर्चुनेटली मुझे एक अच्छा एडवाइस मिला था कि आप इंटरव्यूअर के सामने अपनी पर्सनालिटी फेक नहीं कर सकते. वो बहुत ही एक्सपीरियंस लोग हैं, वो बहुत ही ईजिली मेकआउट कर सकते हैं कि हाँ आप 2 महीने के लिए प्रिपेयर करके आए इंटरव्यू के लिए. सो स्टार्टिंग से ही मैं जो फॉर एग्जांपल हिस्ट्री हो गया, एजुकेशन हिस्ट्री, बैकग्राउंड एक्सेट्रा, वो कंटेंट में रेगुलरली वैसे प्रिपेयर कर रहा ही था, करता ही रहता था. बट येस, क्योंकि बहुत ज़्यादा इंटरमीडिएट हो गया ये, तो इसमें कभी मैंने स्टार्ट करा 2 मंथ्स, फिर पता चला कुछ आ नहीं रहा, फिर मैंने रोक दिया, तो वो पोर्शन थोड़ा डिफिकल्ट था. बट एक बार जैसे EPFC का रिजल्ट वगैरह आता है तो मुझे लगा कि ठीक है ये होने वाला है, तो वो एक अच्छा स्पैन मिल गया मुझे, वहाँ पे मैं फिर इसकी प्रिपरेशन कर.
Any other question from anyone?
Yeah.
Okay, so I think we can proceed for the
Sure.
interview now. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you so much.
Hi everyone, welcome to EduTap. I'm Tanushree. Students, hardships, मेहनत, सक्सेस, स्ट्रगल, ये सारे ऐसे वर्ड्स हैं जो हम सब लोग अपनी लाइफ के साथ एसोशिएट करते हैं. बहुत से जो लोग ऑलरेडी सक्सेसफुल हो चुके हैं वो इन वर्ड्स को अपनी लाइफ के साथ जो है एसोशिएट करते हैं. इनफैक्ट जब भी हम किसी सक्सेसफुल पर्सन के बारे में जानते हैं तो हमें एक सबकॉन्शियसली हमारे दिमाग में एक आइडिया होता है कि कुछ हार्डशिप्स रहे होंगे, कुछ बहुत मुश्किल हालात रहे होंगे, कुछ तो मार पड़ी होगी, कुछ तो लाइफ के थपेड़े रहे होंगे और हम सोचते हैं कि अच्छा ये इनकी मोटिवेशन रही. पर मेरा क्वेश्चन हमेशा उन लोगों से होता है जिनकी लाइफ स्मूथ है, जिनके पास बहुत अच्छी अदर अपॉर्चुनिटीज़ भी हैं, जिनके पास एक सेटल्ड लाइफ जीने का पूरा चांस है, पूरा एक मौका है, लेकिन उसके बावजूद भी वो लाइफ के स्ट्रगल्स को चूज करते हैं टू स्टैंड आउट, टू डू समथिंग, टू हैव अ नेम ऑफ देयर ओन. ऐसे लोग जिनके पास सब कुछ अवेलेबल है, पर फिर भी वो लोग मेहनत करना चूज करते हैं, पर फिर भी वो लोग स्ट्रगलिंग एक पाथ चूज करते हैं. ऐसे लोग मेरे लिए सबसे ज़्यादा बड़ी मोटिवेशन होते हैं, क्योंकि बिना किसी आउटर मोटिवेशन के भी वो लोग अपने आप को मोटिवेट कर पाते हैं. तो ऐसे ही आज एक पर्सन हमारे साथ हैं, मिस्टर वैभव स्नेही, एंड ही हैज सिक्योर्ड ऑल इंडिया रैंक 99 इन UPSC EPFO AO एग्जाम. So, welcome, Mr. Vaibhav.
Thank you so much.
And first of all, congratulations
Thanks a
for
lot.
achieving this success.
Yeah.
So, वैभव, मैं आपसे इसी बात पे आपका इंटरव्यू स्टार्ट करना चाहूँगी कि आपकी जो जर्नी रही है. सो हाउ वाज योर चाइल्डहुड?
My childhood was it was a mixed bag, but it was overall really good because my parents were from the beginning were really supportive. My mother had always pushed me to do more than normal, and my parents and especially my father always pushed me to get involved in co-curricular activities as well. So ever since then, I think that I have this inkling to do something more. Apart from that, my elder sister has always been a big motivation for me because she had been like the biggest rule breaker in our family.
Okay.
I would have been much more reserved personally, but it is due to her that I could understand social dynamics. She took a lot of risk, and I'm sort of walking
Okay.
the pathway that she ran. Yeah.
Okay, nice. So I just talked about that you have a pretty settled and a very decent life. Basically, by that I meant that as I get to know you, that your father, he's a businessman. So why did you decided to choose a government service? Because we know that here there is a lot of competition, lot of struggle is there, a lot of challenges are there. Why you chose this path when you already have a settled life waiting for you?
I still remember that the first time I drew something in sixth class. I drew a person in navy uniform,
Okay.
and my mother was like, "Oh, that's a really good drawing." And I was like, "What does he do? Like, how do you become that? And what is like the purpose behind it?" And then she told me about the different services, and I was always drawn towards civil services in general. I definitely had science in my 12th examination as well, so I was pretty much more driven towards understanding society, uh, universe, etc. in general. So when I understood society more, I realized that there is a massive governance gap which exists. The difference between the government and the governed is a little bit huge. And ever since then, I had some sort of itch in my back that I need to do something about it. Like as a civil servant, I cannot do everything, obviously. But even if I can improve a small portion, that would be more than enough. So that was the reason that I thought, what, I should go through for these services.
Okay, so this internal motivation to do something for the society, it pushed you towards this path.
Yes, it did, yeah.
Okay, now before I discuss more about your journey, I would like to know a little bit about your academic background. So your 12th class, like what were your subjects, and then your graduation?
So I had PCM in my 12th.
Okay.
And after that, I went to Kiramal College, University of Delhi, to pursue bachelor's in chemistry. I was always very intrigued by chemicals and all. So I thought that should be my graduation, even though I had already planned that I would appear for UPSC examinations. So I tried to balance both worlds. On one hand, a little bit more humanities oriented UPSC preparation and the scientific preparation and understanding. Apart from that, I also went to Bhabha Atomic Research Center
Okay.
as a junior research intern during my preparation, during my bachelor's itself. So that is something I did as well. Yeah.
Okay, so that was your academic background.
Yeah.
And after your graduation, like you were from such a reputed college of Delhi University, haven't you decided like I'll sit for some job, like I was sit for
Placements.
placement, or like you started for civil services?
So basically, the thing was that placement was never really my call, to be
Okay.
honest. As I said, that I could not see myself in, let's say, just in business or just working for corporate in general. And it would always bother me that I did not try for civil services or, in general, becoming a civil servant and, in a way, improving the society to some extent. And that was one of the reasons that I did not. Apart from that, I started my college with this in mind, that I would be, giving these examinations. So I never really thought about that. Yeah.
Okay. And when your other friends who set for the placements and who went for some other avenues in their life, didn't you felt any FOMO like
I
I'm
did.
you
I
did?
did. I thought that, this journey is a long one,
Hmm.
and it did take me a lot of time. And initially, in the couple of years, I thought that maybe I have missed out on, bigger or better perks in the life that I could have possibly received. But at the end of the day, I had this sort of belief that, I will end up doing the things that I always wanted to. Yes, there were times that my belief was flouting a little bit, but well, eventually these things happened. Apart from that, like, my friends were doing really well and they did get placements. They were pursuing masters and some were pursuing PhD. Some are still, working as researchers. So they kept on working. They were sort of going through personal growth, getting themselves academically improved. So that was in my mind as well. You know what? They are also working on themselves. They are not necessarily settled. So what is my excuse? Why am I just, looking for an easy ticket? So
Huh.
that was the
Like
case.
there shouldn't be one specific definition of getting settled.
Yeah,
We
exactly.
all are working on
Yeah.
ourselves. All right. So then you started preparing for civil services. How was that journey of yours?
So initially, I took a year and a half on myself to understand the subject, get to know the details, and when I started reading newspapers and the basic NCRTs, it was almost as I have been introduced to a new world altogether, because I did not study these subjects in my 10th, 11th, 12th. Obviously, there were social studies that I did study in school, but I had forgotten most of it
Yes.
by the time. So during graduation, I got introduced to this new world and I found it really fascinating. I think that was the reason that I got the courage to continue the preparation, despite it being so long, and that is how I started it. Then I appeared for several prelims. I wrote a couple of mains and appeared for an interview as well. So yeah, that has been my journey.
Okay. And when do you get to know about EPFO AO exam?
So I got to know it from a friend of mine a couple of years ago, and he actually asked me, "Did you appear for this examination conducted by UPSC in 21?" I said that no, because first of all, I wasn't really aware, and secondly, I wasn't really looking much further away from the mainstream. But then the notification came again in 23, and I thought that this would be a good opportunity. I looked at the syllabus, and I realized that it is quite similar to the CSE. The job profile is quite similar to being a civil servant as well, and I thought that I should give it a shot.
Okay, so Vaibhav, at this point, I want to ask you a very important question, and that is that there are aspirants who focus only on just one examination. Like if they are preparing for civil services, they will keep their entire focus on civil services only. They will not attempt any other exam, and they think that this might be distracting for us, time consuming for us. But in my personal opinion, also, I think that it is very important to have a backup option. What are your thoughts on it?
Well, I do believe that a backup option is necessary. It doesn't have to be an examination. It could be, let us say, a degree that you can, if you are appearing for civil services, and let us say a couple of years go by and you are not able to clear, then if you have a degree which can help you find some sort of placement, get settled in certain way, then that is fine. But if that's not the case, and entire focus was on getting some sort of civil service, then it is important to have and to keep on a lookout for other options as well. One of the reasons is that if your actual motivation is to join civil services, then it is fine, because all these options will lead you there in one
Correct.
form or another. And that is also reflected in an interview as well, because the interview panel actually checks and they have really good eye to figure out who is actually interested, who has good understanding and the background of the role that they're going to have. So if you have those qualities and if you have those ambitions, then you must have some sort of backup plan. That is more than important.
Correct.
Either you should have sort of a degree which you can rely on if you could not clear this examination, or you need to look out for multiple options.
Correct. Okay, now we have discussed about your journey and how you reached till this exam preparation. Now I want to talk about the preparation itself. So, how was the preparation? Let's talk about the phase one examination first of all. So, I think that year you were taking a break. You were not giving the civil services examination. So, how did you prepare for the subjects? How did the civil services preparation help you in this examination first of all?
So there are two portions to it. First of all, a sizable portion of EPFO examination is similar to other UPS examinations. So that really helped me. However, the way the questions are asked is a bit different. The questions are a little bit more factual, and they are actually a bit more, they have more range as well, even the GS subjects. So we need to cover a lot of stuff. At the same time, we need to go in a little bit more detail. So that is one portion which is similar with civil services. Then there's another portion in phase one which is a little bit different, which includes accounting, insurance, social security, statistics. So that is the portion that I had to cover differently. Fortunately, the aspects of social security and insurance, those aspects were something that I was already introduced through civil services preparation, as I would read different schemes, I know, and get to know different government bodies as well. Not in detail, but I had some sort of idea.
Yeah.
So that helped me start on with those. Accountancy, statistics, those were the things that I actually had a little bit problem getting used to. But once I understood some principles, I actually watched several YouTube videos to get myself comfortable with that. That really helped me.
Okay, so what was your strategy? How did you prepare for those subjects which were not similar to the civil services? Like, how did you prepare for the accounting principles?
So one of the most amazing thing is that you should just look at the syllabus.
Okay.
Unfortunately, the syllabus was not that well defined. But what you can do is, like, what I did was, suppose there are 7 points in syllabus, and these all are new fields. So I would pick one point and I'd just look it up on Google, that what are the subtopics which are usually asked, and then I look for source material. Usually, the counting principles, etc., NCRT had a good amount of material. So what I did, I started reading NCRT. If there was any portion or any point I felt that I could not understand, I would just watch a YouTube lecture, find a random file on Google, and try to understand it. After that, I definitely took help of Chat GPT and different AI tools as well to elaborate on those aspects. So that was one thing. Then there were some topics, a little bit advanced accounting, some schemes which are not usually available, which can be asked in social security, insurance. There are multiple types of insurance. Social security in itself, apart from current affairs, as a static topic, has a lot of subparts which were needed to understand. So for that, I was looking for notes online. I found it a bit difficult to find those notes, but eventually I did. Just watching lectures did not help me, because I knew that these are the topics I should know much better, because they will be asked in interview. They will definitely be. And I was asked these questions as well. So I did not just go through YouTube anyway. I found different notes, different platforms. It was a very random bunch. In the hindsight, I should have sort of taken more organized help in that aspect. But well, this strategy fortunately worked out for me.
Okay, so you took help from anywhere and everywhere,
Yes.
which helped you.
Yes.
So did you make some notes also?
I did, yes.
Okay.
Mainly digital notes.
Okay.
So I used application called OneNote. Right. So the good thing about that OneNote is that it can sync between your laptop and your mobile phone. Also, anything you can write on it, you don't have to save it. So even if your laptop crashes, it happened with me a lot of time that I would make notes in Word and the laptop would crash, and
Okay.
it would be problematic. Yeah.
Okay, and what was your strategy for industrial relations and labor laws?
So with industrial relations and labor laws, the good thing was that the syllabus got changed, but it introduced another problem, that we now had to read old laws and the new laws. But the good thing was that the new laws had so many notes available everywhere, online, etc. They were very scrambled. It was not structured. A lot of material was not even relevant for the examination. So it took me a lot of time to find the right topic, find the right subject, and then analyze them, put them together. And I joined several Telegram groups as well, which provided me toppers notes which they had made previously. So that also helped me out. yeah, so that is how I covered those portions.
Okay. And then computer knowledge is also a component which we
Yeah.
don't generally cover in
Yes, yes.
prelims. So how did you cover it here?
Basic, again, computer knowledge was relatively simpler
Yeah.
because I guess different examinations as well, apart from UPSC, computer knowledge is asked. So in those examinations, the teachers and the students, they have appeared for them. So there's more material available for it
Yes.
compared to social security or insurance.
Hmm.
So that is how I used it.
Okay. And then for general and mathematical ability, how
Yeah.
did you tackle that?
Mainly just the way I used to do CSAT
Yeah.
preparation. It was more or less similar.
Okay.
But because here the marks will be counted,
Hmm.
so, and would be taken in account. So I definitely took due preparation for it.
Okay.
But the good thing was because I had prepared for CSE, I could give my time to do all this research and scrambled stuff.
Yes.
That really helped me. Otherwise, it would have been much more
Yes.
of a hassle.
So the skills of note making and
Yes.
picking up things which you
Yeah.
acquired in the civil services prelims,
Really
it
helped me out. Yeah.
helped you here also. So the saying goes right that the hard work you have put, it never goes to
It
waste.
is. It would have been much more difficult work apart from
Yes.
that. Yeah.
Yes, yes. And what about the social security? How did you prepare for that?
Social security, I mainly focused on understanding the basic, like the theory. There are several different theories of social security as well, and to approach it. Fortunately, in UPSC EPFO, the questions they usually ask are more scheme based and current affair based. So it wasn't that difficult for me to find new schemes. I could find new schemes on YouTube. I would watch monthly compilations of schemes and I would make notes and then I would revise. But for this, it was more about revising. That was,
Okay, so daily revision was your key.
yeah.
Like you have to do it on a daily basis. All right. And what about the mock tests? Did you give mock tests also? And if yes, then how many?
I did not give mock tests specifically for EO,
Okay.
but I did give mock tests for prelims examination, uh, CSE, and that really helped me in understanding the different aspects. What I would do is I would go on again different online sources. I would refer to them, and I would find mock tests which are already there. There's so many people who are posting videos about important questions, etc. Those are not enough, but because I had that background, it helped me. But if I was starting from scratch, that I would have been nowhere.
Yes.
So that was very important. So yeah.
Okay. Here, one thing also comes to my mind that whenever we are preparing, we are often said that it is the PYQs which should be your guiding light. You should refer to the previous year questions. But this time in the AOEO exam, like the things, the pattern, it was completely changed. The
Yes.
difficulty level was like way
Different, yeah.
different from what we have observed in the previous years. So on the day of exam, when you saw that okay, the things are not from the previous year questions, the things are not like what we have assumed them to be, so how did you manage yourself at that moment?
Fortunately for me, I was in the habit of getting shocked.
Okay.
In 2019 and 2020, UPSC prelims had also changed pattern like drastically.
Yes.
So I was already accustomed to getting shocked.
Okay.
So in that examination paper, I wasn't that much, let us say, bothered by it. Apart from that, the questions which were asked, I thought that if these were the questions which while reading them, if I thought that they were irrelevant, I would have sort of become a little bit nervous that they're asking something which is not supposed to be asking, which happens in other different state examinations. But that did not happen here. The questions were relevant. So what I had prepared, I could use my basic knowledge to approach them. But yes, it was, I found it slightly difficult. Yeah.
All right. Like once your exam happened, like, so how were you expecting? Like, how did you what was your reaction after the exam?
After the exam, when I gave the examination, at the moment I did not have understanding of how people would react to their own performance. So I definitely looked at different resources at what scores people were getting, and most of the people who were getting scores, I thought that I did not have enough marks.
Okay.
So obviously I waited for the result to come, but I was waiting for that, and I think I did not well. So far, the marks have not been released. So in prelims, I don't think I scored that much above the cutoff. I definitely cleared the cutoff, but not that much above the cutoff. So I was very nervous whether I would make it or not. So that was sort of a weird period.
Okay. And one thing I also want to ask you here before we proceed further, like what is your exam attempting strategy? Because that is a very crucial part of any exam. You have studied something, you have learned something, but how are you going to pick up the questions? How are you going to attempt that exam? That 2 hour period, it becomes very, very important. So what was your exam attempting strategy?
So my exam attending strategy was made by my previous judgments, which I did on my own.
Hmm.
What I would do is during mock test, I would make an Excel sheet,
Hmm.
and in that Excel sheet, I would divide in 4 parts.
Hmm.
The questions which I knew off the back, I would write the number of that question. The questions which I could eliminate 2 options, I would write that question.
Hmm.
The number of questions I eliminated, only 1 option.
Hmm.
And the question which I did not know at all.
Hmm.
So I would make 4 columns.
Hmm.
And then I would attempt all the questions in the mock test, 100 out of 100. And then I will see what is my accuracy rate.
Hmm.
And I found that the questions that I thought that I was attempting correctly, my accuracy was 80%.
Okay.
But the questions in which I was eliminating just one,
Hmm.
technically my accuracy should be 33. But my accuracy there was above 40%.
Okay.
So doing that exercise, I realized something about myself, that that also helped me analyze how many attempts I should give.
Yes.
So I did that exercise a lot of times
Hmm.
to understand what is my accuracy. And when I'm in the examination room and I have the MCQs in front of me, I would mark the questions accordingly. If there's a question I know, I would definitely directly mark it and circle my OMR. If it's a question that I can only eliminate 2, then I will write 2 and I will cut the options and I will move on to the next question. So that in the end, I can take some sort of calculative analytics as to how many 2 marked question or only one eliminated option I should attempt. And if I think that sufficient questions have been attempted, then I would look at the questions which I completely left, out of which I could not even eliminate, let's say, even one option. Then I would take my calculated analysis, understand, and try to think whether I can find some sort of pattern in solving these questions. So that was my strategy.
Yes. My reason why I asked you this question is because most of the time, students, they give their entire focus on simply reading and then giving mocks and then looking at the marks. But this background exercise, it is at the core of your preparation. If you are not doing it, like there are very thin chances that you are going to make it in the list.
Especially in prelims, the problem is that I do believe that a lot of qualified people do not clear it, who
Yes.
have the knowledge and in future who might become good civil servants,
Yes.
but they are not able to clear it
Yes.
because of, let us say, not good enough guidance or not good enough understanding of how they should approach.
Yes.
It is very important to know what you can do, how much of the questions are you able to solve, and to what degree are you able to solve. What are the mistakes you are making? Some people, I made these mistakes. I knew the answer, but I circled the wrong OMR. Sometimes I knew the answer and I correctly marked the excuse me, and I currently marked the OMR, but I interpreted the question incorrectly, even though I knew that that was the answer. So once I knew about this and I made a mental note of it, the next time I'm attempting, I'm keeping that in the back of the hand. So that is very important to know about yourself.
Because at the end of the day, it's just an exam and you have to tackle it like an exam. Like what we are going to do after becoming a civil servant is irrelevant for those 2-3 hours when
Yes.
you are actually writing the paper. It is at that moment, it is all about you and that OMR
Yes,
sheet.
it is. It is, yeah.
Yeah. So after your prelims happened and the results came, so the issue with this AOU exam was that there was a huge time difference between
Yes.
the prelims and the dates when when the interview dates were announced. So how did you manage yourself during that period of time?
Well, it was a little bit difficult for me because I was anticipating that the examination would happen or the interview from UPSC would be called in, let us say, 3-4 months. But that did not happen. And that slightly put me in my own intermittent preparation. I would prepare for it for a few times and then I would leave it because there's a little bit of uncertainty when the interview would be called. So, yes, that was a little bit problematic. But when other UPSC examinations happened and I could see their schedule, so, and a lot of people were talking about it. So I realized that yes, now the interview is about to happen. And then I also realized that, what, I cannot just put it away forever. I need to just start working on it. And that was really good because I did not leave it entirely. If I would have left it entirely, then preparing it for last 1.5 months would have been very difficult. And I probably would have appeared more nervous in the interview as well. So I sort of kept going with it, and obviously I did take the mock interview from EduTap. Apart from that, my mother used to daily make different questions, and on video call, we had done like 20, 30 video calls where
Okay.
she would just, I told her to think like a UPSC interviewer, and she would just go into major depths. Like she asked me about like the first interview that she took of mine. She asked me about the social security schemes in Rajasthan and its problems. I hadn't thought of that. So I was like, that's a really good point. I need to prepare for that aspect as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, that really helped.
Okay, so students should take note of this, that whatever your DAF is, circulate it
Yeah,
to all your
exactly.
family members and
Absolutely.
friends and ask
Yes.
them to ask you questions.
Yes.
Yes, so that is one strategy people can take. And so now coming to your interview preparation, how you prepared yourself for the interview? Because basically there are three pillars to it. The one is your DAF related questions, another one is your static questions, and then your current affair questions. So how you prepared for each one of them?
So with DAF, I took the usual approach. Whatever it is written on the DAF, I need to know everything about it. In fact, for example, I mentioned that my hobbies include playing piano and guitar. So I had done all the research of when the piano was invented, how many strings does it have, what are all the moving parts. Because a UPSC panelist does ask, and they can ask these types of questions.
Yeah.
And if they do ask, and if I say, well, I'm not aware, so they might be, they might think that I'm lying about my hobbies, but I wasn't. I did play the instrument, so I thought that it is also my responsibility that I should know about these things.
Yes.
So that was the DAF approach. Everything that is written there, I need to go in entire detail
Yes.
because I cannot leave any area, right? Just for my convenience, अरे वो तो नहीं पूछेंगे, ऐसा नहीं. I need to know about that. And as you said that, yes, I did give my DAF to a couple of people, and they asked me some random questions which gave me more ideas of the gaps that I had, and I filled those gaps. As far as the static portion goes, the questions that they asked me mainly, like in the beginning, they just asked me what is the concept of insurance, why is there insurance. So it was about the shared risk that a society takes for an individual vulnerable people.
Yes.
So those conceptual questions were asked. They also asked me an accounting question, the difference between the cash-based accounting and the accrual accounting. Then they asked me that what sort of system is the government of India following. So that was the static portion. Apart from that, definitely they did ask about me. They did ask to me about cyclones, a little bit of geography as well, some polity-based questions, mainly about more conceptual questions. They asked me a lot of conceptual questions, I'm realizing now. Then current-based questions were also asked because at the time a cyclone Fingal was going on. So they asked me how is it named, which body it is which names it. They also asked me Australia banning the use of social media for children who are under 16. So they asked me to analyze it from all the perspectives. Then yeah, they also asked me, so finally they also asked me about that. What is it that the government of India need to do, and what is it that the pensioners currently need? It was a very open-ended question, but I knew what they were trying to ask. And the reason I knew is because 2 months or 2 and 2.5 months before, I had watched all the YouTube videos uploaded by EPFO.
Okay.
Yes. So they work on a lot of things. But if they are picking one topic and making a video about it, that means they think it is important.
Yes.
So I obviously knew everything, but that catalog of videos that they had uploaded helped me identify which topics were even more important than the other. Then I went to the Hindu website and then I just wrote EPFO. I basically read last 4 months of every news that had come. In that news, they had mentioned that the employees organization, different female employees organization, mixed employees organization, they were asking for a raise in the pension, minimum pension from 1,000 to 9,000, and the limit for the wage from 15,000 to 40,000. If I hadn't known this, I would have just said, yeah, everyone wants an increment. And that would have been a very basic answer.
Yes.
But because I had done this research, I could answer them. And I could see that they were like smiling. They were like, okay, yeah, this guy knows his stuff.
Yeah.
So that was really helpful for me to know about the organization and their schemes, to cover the basics. That really helped me out. And at the end, when the interview was over, they asked me, we have asked you all the questions. Now it is your turn. If there's anything you want to ask us, or is there any suggestion you want to give us? At that moment, my eyes sort of sparkled because there was a minister of state a few years ago who suggested that the pensioners were worried that because the interest rates are not, because the growth rate of India is, well, fluctuating. It is good. We are fastest growing economy.
Yes.
It is slightly fluctuating. That the government of India might not be able to give the same interest rate forever, and it might drop. So this is a concern among the employees organization. So that I knew. So what we should do, what should the government do to ensure that the money that is invested, they would get similar return? One option was to invest certain amount of it in stock markets, hypothetically. And that was a suggestion given by Minister of State a few years ago. I
Okay.
watched that interview. So in the interview, I said that currently the government of India invest 5 to 15 percentage in exchange traded funds. And then I mentioned that why don't we give this option to the pensioner or the PF holder, that they can decide, it is their consent, whether they want to increase this percentage from 5 percentage to 30 percentage. It covers two problems. First of all, the concern that the government might not be able to give them return, that goes away, because if you're investing in a booming stock market, you would make more return. Secondly, gives them more control and allows them to be more engaged with this. So I think that is a suggestion that I gave to them.
Yeah.
So I think that also helped me. But they, but the panelists were definitely much smarter than me. They were like, India does not have good enough financial inclusion. Are you sure you want to give people this much opportunity? What if they mess up? I was like,
Yeah.
okay. I was, I took a step back. I was like, fine. I need to be humbled a bit.
Yes.
But obviously, I replied that yes, we are working on financial inclusion. RBI is running in tier two and tier three cities, has made a separate fund for increasing financial inclusion. And just because we are not ready for it does not mean that we not need to experiment with it.
Yes.
So we can create a sandbox environment in a district where we can run this experiment and see how it works out.
Okay. Oh, that looks very nice.
Yeah.
Like even listening to it, I felt कि हाँ ये तो सही जा रहा
Yeah.
है. So okay. So after your interview, what do you felt?
I At the moment I felt that it was a really good interview because
Yes.
after, as I mentioned, here the marks of first phase and second phase get added up, and then the cutoff is announced. I thought that in my first phase, even though I have cleared cutoff, the marks that I've scored are not good enough. So I needed a really good interview to compensate for good marks. And I am assuming that I got good marks in interview, and that is why I could clear the final
Yes.
cutoff.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. And I want to tell all the aspirants here that he was associated with us for the interview guidance program only. So how was EduTap helpful for you in that journey?
So, well, I was provided certain introductory lectures as well, or of how to uh, prepare for interview and what are the initial steps you take. And then, especially the most help that I got was from the mock interview. The mock interview was really good, and they also really highlighted some gaps in my understanding. They asked me some basic fundamental questions about football, which I did not know because my hobby was watching football. I had added into the DAF, and they asked me that, and I realized, okay, I need to cover that portion. Then they also suggested that I read real life cases of the people dealing with EPFO so that I can understand the concerns and the day to day problem that people might have in filing claim. And one of the panelists also suggested me to visit a nearby MSME to gain their understanding as well. So in Shalimar Bagh, where I'm residing, I did go to nearby company and they helped me out with that. So that definitely was good stuff. And they also asked me to be more jubilant, to a little bit more happier while
Okay.
answering those questions, and to look at each panelist irrespective of who has asked the question. So like addressing each panelist while answering the question, that also I think helped me.
Okay. So now, like when you have finally cleared this exam, so on the day of the result, what was your reaction and what was your family's reaction?
So the result came on 1st of January.
Yeah,
So
New Year.
yeah, so I was in my room in Delhi. My parents are in Jaipur. So I called my dad and was like, Happy New Year, Dad. He was like, what's going on? You wished me yesterday. I was like, the result has arrived. So yeah, it was a very emotional moment for both of us. Yeah.
Okay.
For all of us, well.
Yeah. So very, very amazing starting for a new
Yeah.
year.
It was.
Okay. So now, like since you are done with this journey, what are some tips you would like to give to the students who are still preparing for this part, and especially with respect to the mental health? I want to ask you here because yours was a long journey, civil services and then coming to AOEO, where the interview happened after 1.5 year. So in this particular period, you can get access to everything. That is what I know. That notes, teachers, guidance, somehow you'll get it if you are searching for it. But mental health and a calm mind, it is very rare to find. So how you maintained yourself, like how you maintain yourself mentally, how you ensure that you are calm, you are composed, and how you ensure that you are in your control with respect to the mental health, how you manage that?
So there are two questions. I will answer them separately. First was about what is the message that I would give. One is that the hard work will always beat a smarter person. I
Yes.
have seen it. I have been beaten in school. I had several students, my classmates, who might not be academically as good as me, but in later years they were so much better because I sort of took myself for granted. I became a little bit lazy. And that is a lesson that I learned quite early, that there's literally no substitute for hard work. Yes, some luck and coincidences might happen, but they're so random that it might not, it might never happen to us. So yes, there's no substitute to hard work, and the hard work never goes to waste. That is also another lesson that I learned. That if you're honestly doing the hard work, it will never go to waste. It might not, come alive in the way that you want, but it will definitely yield to results. Secondly, about the mental health, first of all, our society, the government of India is getting more and more aware of the mental health and treating it almost as similar to the physical health. That is very important. If we get sick, we go and take a medicine. But if we feel anxious or a little bit depressed, we are like, okay, fine, it's a phase. But we need to take it a little bit seriously and work on ourselves. For me, I would say that. Personally, yes, because it was a long journey, I did suffer a little bit problems here and there. And what I used to do is the basic things, meditation and talking to people. One mistake I did was that I cut off myself from some of my friends in that process. I should never have done that, because I realized that the more that I engaged socially, I was, irrespective of what is going in my life professionally, I was relatively happier. And that is something I would advise, that do not cut yourself, irrespective of whether you are doing your preparation, it's taking long, but keep yourself connected. That really helps. So, yeah, that's it.
Yeah. All right. So that was a very insightful interview. Your entire journey and your preparations strategy, they were all very insightful. And I hope that they are going to be helpful for the future aspirants as well. So, on this note, students, I'm taking a leave here. And thank you so much, Weber, for being with us.
Thank you so much for having me here.
Okay. Thank you.